This is an MT-151 from Mtech. It's a clone of the Cold Steel Trailmaster. Virtually identical in every respect, except the steel is 440, which likely means 440A. The Cold Steel Trailmaster comes in a variety of steels. The one I had was in carbon 5. Same as the Recon Scout that I had, also in carbon 5. The interesting thing about this, and the main reason I wanted to make this video, is that this knife, which I've talked about in a few other videos, has the exact same problems of the original Trailmaster, which I find kind of funny. When they cloned it, they cloned the problems as well. And they all have to do with the grip. This is a rubber grip. Various types of rubbers, various trade names. Cold Steel refers to this as Kraton. It is essentially hard rubber. This wears very fast in the main contact regions and the corners. It also wears very fast wherever you're holding it onto if you're doing any kind of chopping. It's wearing right here for me because I normally use it in a grip like this, which is very similar to a Luco grip, which is normally further back. I use it about right here to give me a bit more control than a traditional Luco grip. This just shifts the weight forward a bit more so I get a bit more impact when I'm chopping with it. So we have number one, the wear on the handle. You can solve that with a bit of grip tape, not a big issue. It's a bit annoying to have to retape it. If this was in micarta or G10, the checkering would last far longer. Of course, this knife is $15. Keep some of these issues in mind with the price. The second issue is the lanyard tubing. It's probably going to pop out anytime soon. Again, exact same problem I had with Trailmaster and Recon Scout. Most significant is the fact that this grip you can feel when you're chopping with it now. You can feel it move up and down, and you can also feel it rotate around. And if I take this knife now and try to rotate it, I can actually spin the grip around. You can see I can actually haul it down by just pulling on the handle, and I can see it separate out a bit. But when you're using this, you can feel it start to move around. And the only thing keeping it in place appears to be the lanyard tube there down at the bottom. So the handle is starting to detach again from the tang. Again, all those three problems, the wearing, the lanyard tube, and the detachment of the handle, I had with the exact same problems with the original Trailmaster and Recon Scout. Kind of funny, same problems with this. Now, that's not insurmountable. A decent elastic type epoxy will fix this issue and will fix that issue. Just vise the blade, pull that down, squirt the epoxy in, and that should hold it and you get much more use out of it. Just a couple of comments on the performance of the knife. I have talked about it in a few other videos. It's very faithful to the original Trailmaster, and it will match it in every respect because it has identical blade geometry, identical weight, identical heft. It feels, cuts, chops, does everything just like the original Trailmaster does. Now, in regards to steel, this is 440 stainless, which, like I said, 90% probability this is 440A, or something which resembles that from some company, a similar composition. You'll get a lot of horrible comments on 440A. There's a tremendous amount of misinformation about stainless steels in general. Essentially, 440A, the best way to understand it is that if you, for example, like the stainless steel that's used in Moras, which is 12C27M, 440A is a bit more wear resistant than 12C27M, but otherwise has the same ability to achieve hardness, the same corrosion resistance. 440A can get to around 59 to 60 Rockwell. That requires an oil quench and deep cryo. Almost no one's going to do that because 440A is using cheap knives. So you get it ear hardened, and the soak temperature is going to be fairly low, not where you want it to be for maximum performance. So you'll lose 1 to 2 points from lack of oil, you lose 1 to 2 points from lack of cryo, and you'll lose 1 to 2 points because it's going to be soaked a bit cooler than what it should be for optimal performance. So you're going to lose somewhere between 3 and 6 hardness points. So instead of 59 to 60, you're going to end up somewhere between, say, 54 and 56 Rockwell. You will notice a bit of difference in terms of crispness. Not in terms of sharpening, because the carbide volume is so low. This will sharpen up really well, even though, like I said, you can expect this to be anywhere between 54 and 56 in general for 440A in these types of knives. Because the carbide volume is so low, you don't have any issues with burr formation. This will take a really nice finish off pretty much any stone. Even a normal hardware stone will sharpen this up very well. Corrosion resistance will be very high. In terms of edge retention, you'll have people rambling on about this, saying a lot of things about it which are essentially 100% untrue. Again, this is a wear resistance upgrade to 12C27M. So if you like the stainless steel in Moras, this will have more wear resistance than them, not less. In terms of general ability to hold an edge, not to roll and all that kind of stuff, if you look at this knife right now, you'll see that there's no secondary bevel along the edge. That's because I ground that off. It came with a secondary bevel. which worked fairly well. The reason I took it off was because I wanted to see just how durable this knife would be. So I took the primary grind and I put an edge bevel right on it, which almost matched the primary grind. So I had an edge bevel here of about 7.5 degrees. I tried to use the edge at about 7.5 degrees. Even going fairly light on wood, I was turning it a bit. Some of these little imperfections that you see right now are from the time when I had it at around 7.5 degrees per side, and it was turning a little bit. I then brought the angle up slowly, and I put a very slight secondary bevel on it, which you can probably just make out. It's right here on the very edge itself. It's right now only at about 10 to 15 thousandths of an inch thick. And once I got to around 12 to 14 degrees per side, with the edge at around 15 thousandths thick, it started to do woodwork just fine. I normally sharpen this up on a 1000 grit Waterstone, and then I give it just a few passes on a polishing compound, just to essentially raise the polish just a little bit more. But a finer stone will work fine as well. Now, when you talk about edge holding, when I normally do chopping comparisons, I'll cut between, say, 20 and 30 pieces of wood, ranging from around 2 to 4 inches in thickness, and then I'll split usually that wood as well. This knife has gone through one of those sessions. This jambly bit here, that's just stuff that comes off the wood, and it should still be fairly sharp. Yeah, so it's still decent. Now I can probably pick up a couple of spots in the edge. This is not because of any damage from the latest sharpening session. This is some slight bits of damage way back when I had the edge at 7.5 degrees per side, and I turned it a bit. I didn't 100% sharpen them out because it'd be a waste of steel. So if I go fairly slowly, I can probably... Yeah, there's one right there. Yeah, okay. So it started to tear the edge. Because up here, there's a little divot. Again, that's from where it was at around... Yeah, so it's tearing it right there. There's a little divot there from when the edge was around 7.5 degrees per side. So if I take that to a piece of paper and start doing swirly cuts with it, I can pick up where that little chip is. If I don't do them cuts, it'll just cut paper like that. Relatively easy. And again, this has been used. This is not freshly sharpened. It's cut probably around 25 pieces of wood at around 3 inches in diameter, which is usually pine, fir, juniper, maybe a couple of pieces of oak and birch, and are seasoned between 0, which is fresh, and about 5 years. So again, 440A stainless, you're going to read an awful lot of nonsense about it from people who don't understand how to judge stainless steels, or they're going 100% by carbide content, which is carbide content is fairly low in this. But again, if you look at the stainless steels that are in Moore's, 12C27M is a common one, and 12C27, they have no carbide content. They're 100% on the carbon saturation line, so they're essentially all the chromium is in solution in the steel. This is a wear resistance upgrade to that. So this has the same level of, say, resistance to rolling, the same level of forming a crisp edge as those steels, 12C27, 12C27M, and it has a significant upgrade in terms of wear resistance because it does have a bit more carbides in it. So if you like carbides and wear resistance, this would be an upgrade to 12C27M. So again, that's just a few comments about this knife.